Hello, my friends. Happy Friday. I am popping into your day today with a little life between the seams action. It has been a busy week. I don't know about you guys, but it has been so crazy in my world. I've been busy working with Jane, busy working on other things, writing some patterns, and having to make lots of sample blocks. And I realized that I had not shared any of my recent sample blocks with you, and I call them orphan blocks because these are the blocks that I've been making. Instead of just making small parts of the pattern just to verify measurements, I'm making the whole block, and I am dipping into my stash to do it. So here's my first one, and it's so cute. Look at that. I tried to pull just little colors out. Here's some yellow that I pulled from here, and then there's some pink in here and pink in there. I don't know what I'm going to do with these blocks, friends, but I'm having fun making them and just looking at them and envisioning that they'll become something. There's another one. Pulled some of this nice green. One of my favorite colors is this right here, this green. So I got some of those out. I've had these fabrics in my stash for such a long time, and I love just taking the time and making the excuse to make them. Here's another one. This one has little strawberries. You see them? Right there. And this one is the same. I made the block twice just to be sure that it was the right size and all the measurements were going to be as they needed to be. Last block right here. I have had this polka dot fabric for I cannot remember how long, and I made it at the same time as I was making this one. They feel like friends, so they might wind up in a little project together. Actually, I made two of this one. I'm not sure what I did with it, so maybe I'll make a second one of this one, and then I'll have 4 blocks, and I don't know, maybe I'll make a cushion out of it or something and put them together, and maybe a nice border or something like that. I'll just dig it up. I like to make little somethings that can go just on a wall or on a table or something, just for fun. So there is that. Another update for you. I have been doing so much sewing with Jane lately that I've got all of my little leaders and enders coming together. And look how I have this stack. So I've moved on from the part where I was just joining these 2 units to the part where I've gotten this far. So I joined these 2 units, and then those 2 units went together with this unit, and then I had this unit, and now look. This is my next step for my leaders and enders. And so all throughout this coming week, as I get going on our Black 4, we've got our Black 4 for our weekly whim coming up for next week, Wednesday. And so all throughout this next week, I will be actually finishing this many little log cabin from just having these as my leaders and enders. And so I'm just delighted to have this little extra project. Okay, important on my docket today. This is my manual for Jane, and I think I might just have to make a copy of this because I'm a little worried because it's starting to come apart. This is a very old booklet. And I started to think that I have been using her a fair bit lately, and I really need to pay good, close attention to getting, to properly maintaining her, and I know she needs oiling. So I picked up my little book here, and I thought I could just take a little bit of time to figure out how to remind myself how to oil her. Oh, I just dropped that little thingy. Okay, let me do this. I know I have to pull my thread out. Oh, I've got a leader there. So where are my snippers? There's my snippers. I'll snip my little, maybe I have to turn this on. I gotta take my shoes off if I'm gonna sew at all. So let me turn this on and get my leader, my ender. Leader, no, that's an ender. No, that's a leader. It's a leader. So that little guy can be pressed and be ready to go. Now I can pull out my thread because I know I need to do that. And of course, as you know, I dropped my spool of thread because that's what we always do. Spool or bobbin. Now, I also think I need to get my bobbin out of here. So let's see if I can make it without dropping my bobbin too. Nope, I'm going to put it right in my dish there so I don't lose track of it. Okay, now I know I need to shut off and unplug. So I like to do things, I like to follow the rules, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to move her over to this spot here. Maybe we could just do this together. I don't know how often. I need to look up how often I need to be oiling this. Maybe one of you has a featherweight and you know how often you need to be oiling your featherweight. That would be helpful information for me. I have had Jane for, oh gosh, probably 5 years. I was always looking for a featherweight, but frankly, they're an investment, right? And so I wanted to find one that had been well taken care of, but wasn't, going to be so costly that it was prohibitive. So I just kept my eye open, and I think it was back in the Craigslist days, and I don't think people shop on Craigslist as much anyway, but it turned out that somebody that was probably, I want to say it was about 2.5 hours south of me, had their grandmother's machine that had been clearly well maintained, so one owner, and was selling it for a price that I thought was reasonable. And so I drove, went on an adventure, and brought Jane home and got her all oiled up. And I used her a fair little bit getting started. This is similar to a machine that I learned to sew on called a Singer 99K, meaning it's an old Singer, and old Singers are workhorses, right? I also have my husband's grandmother's, what is that's a, I want to say it's a 321. No, a 301. Sorry, it's a Singer 301. It's over in the cabinet over here, and I call her Elizabeth, and I like to take good care of her too. I haven't sewn with her in quite a little while because she's in a cabinet, and then I'm tied to that cabinet. So I need to just touch base with her a little bit too. But I thought I would just spend a little bit of time. Anyway, so I oiled her and got her all taken care of, and then before we got started here doing our weekly whim blocks, I oiled her as well, but I thought, okay, so I've been using this a lot, and every time I come back to this, I have to remember 1 drop of oil, only 1 drop of oil. Only one? Do I need to give them 2? I probably have, if I do this a little bit more often, then it just sits there like a puddle and it's not doing anything. So there's 1, 2, and then also on these gears here, oh my gosh, it should be oiled each day. Okay, so I'm going to do a better job of that, friends. Really? Every day, Jane? Are you kidding me? That seems like a lot, but I'm going to take your word for it if that's what you need. 1, and then here's another spot I need a drop. And then here's another spot. Is it right here? Yep. That's a hole. What's here? Yep, in there. Is that just... Yeah, so just 1 drop. Okay. So I need this like right beside me all the time. Where else? Oh, right up here in my, where I am oiling, or where I thread my bobbin. Sometimes it just sits there like a puddle, and I feel like I have to kind of nudge it in there so it goes in. I got my brown towel here. Oh, what else? That's B, that's A. Did I get everything up there? Oh, in the back. What's that? Okay, so let's put this back. Let's screw this back down. Oopsie. I have this little tool too. Isn't it cute? So we recently had to, my mother-in-law passed away after my father-in-law has been gone now for about, since 2014. Very, very, very healthy man, and became ill, and left my mother-in-law for, she lived for another, goodness, decade. So what is that, 2014? Yeah, 11 years. And so anyway, we've recently spent the last year especially going through things and making sure that, just sorting through all of her things. And she was a collector of things. And so why am I telling you this? Because this cool little, it's just a little screwdriver, and I don't know where it would have come from. Remington Arms Company. Anyway, so I like handy little tools like that are useful, and make things, and it's a lot easier. Sometimes these screwdrivers are complicated. So I'm assuming this is a tool. This is a little screwdriver for, it says powder metal driver. I'm assuming it's for some sort of artillery of some kind, but there's that. I've gotten that oiled. Anyway, so we've talked, about how I'm really doing my best to put my hands on every single item that I have so that I can decide whether I'm keeping it or letting it go. And the reason for that, in part, is because we have spent a good amount of time just sort of sorting through belongings from both my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. And it has really reminded us of how quickly our life goes and how much we really just are hoping not to burden those we leave behind with a lot of excess stuff to do, stuff to go through. So one of the things that my gram did was that she kept really only the things that mattered to her. My grandparents did a lot of, they moved a lot. My grandfather was a state trooper, and so a Michigan state trooper, and so he would, they were always moving too. They were always being stationed to different places. So my gran was a sorter. She went through stuff. She didn't keep stuff she didn't need. She'd look around, and I would come home from school and my whole room would be cleaned. And like months later, I'd go, I wonder whatever happened to such and such, because she just decided I probably didn't need it. And she was probably right. But like things that she did keep, where's my little friend? This little teapot. I've had this little teapot my whole life. My whole life. I keep treasures in it. Little marbles, stuff, stones, little bracelet. It's just elephants. This was probably my youngest daughter's. I don't know, just little treasures in there. Legos, because of course I can't throw the Legos away. This little marble, this little marble is here because my number 5 child swallowed it. And I was petrified. Took him to the emergency room and all was well. It made its way through, but not after 2 x-rays to make sure it wasn't still there. So little things like that I keep that are treasures. And I probably need to write all those things down so that I am, so that I'm remembering, what did I say? Right there too, interesting. So that people know why they're there and what I'm hanging on to them for. But anyway, that looks like it needs a spot too. Yeah, I think so. Is that nice, Jane? And so anyway, going through all the things and just trying to make sure that I'm saving things that matter. And it's been a journey because it feels like we're making some headway, and I feel less burdened with a lot of stuff too. So, we've got to get inside our bobbin case here, right there. The other thing I'm doing is, and again, the quest for doing my little leaders and enders and making my little sample blocks out of my stash. I've had a shop for 10 years, and much of what I've been sewing with over the last 10 years has been shop fabric, right? If I'm making a sample for the shop for a collection that we've got coming in or whatever. And so what I've really just found is that I have a lovely stash in my studio, and if I don't start using it, well, that's another something for those we leave behind to have to sort through and go through. And I don't know, I just think it's nice if I take a little bit better care and not do that. So making with it. I'm going to start making with it. That's really my point, I think. Now, here's the part that freaks me out. I have to turn it over and oil the bottom. And I don't really know how that is going to go, but let's see. Okay, this is a big, I don't know if you can see it, but there's just this big kind of, I don't know what they call that. They call it it's a thumb nut. Okay, that's cool. It's a thumb nut, and that comes off. And there's the bottom of Jane. And I got this new, I shopped at the Featherweight shop. If you've ever shopped at the Featherweight shop, and again, I don't have an affiliation with the Featherweight shop, but I just know that if there are things that I need for my Featherweight, that is a place that I can get them. And so I was able to replace this little oil cloth or whatever it is that lives on the bottom of on the bottom of Jane's little shelf here. So I need to put a drop of oil right here. God, I didn't do the underneath oiling, I think, as I recall, when I got her ready to go. And then I need, oh, we've got some, oh, there's that, wait, oiling points, yep. And then I've got some gears back here that need a little bit of attention. What if I just do that and then it moves them? Does that make them feel better? I bet it does. Yeah, and so this little felt piece here that you can replace it catches all the extra oil that drips, so it doesn't get all over, which is nice. Ooh, 4 whole spots over here. Where does that go? Not here, it's here. All right, so let me see if I can turn you over, Jane, a little bit more. So I feel like, oh yeah, that's not too bad. I just have to be careful that I don't, oh wow, okay. This is, oh, I see, right there, right there. And then what else? Right here. One of those pointier ones, right? The pointier oilers. Any of you has any ideas where you get that? Oh, look, and there's just a little actual hole right there that needs oil. Okay, and then did I get this other little spot here? Yep, I think so. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't hurt me to just make sure that, you know, I'm at least paying attention to all the different things, but if it looks like it maybe should have a drop there, like where there's all the little turny things, all the places where things screw together or turn. And then right up here too, is that something? That is something. And right here too, right? Yep. Yep. And also on the other end. And then what's that? Oh, no, that goes to there. Oh, sure, right there. This is so fun, guys. I'm so glad that you're with me. I'm so glad that we get kind of visiting time to do things and take care of our creative lives, our creative the creative parts of us and the creative things that help us take care of the creative parts of us. Okay, so do I have some sort of a tissue or something? I feel like I might. Oh, and there's one more thing I want to share with you. I think I don't need one. One more thing I want to share with you before we're finished, because it's what I'm on to this weekend. And I talked about it already. Let me make sure that this goes back where it's supposed to go. Right there on that little, is that a screw or a bolt? Must be a bolt. And then I put our thumb screw back on there. Right there. Happily. And so I've been talking a lot, if you remember, about scant 1/4 inch seam allowances. And that is, well, first of all, let's just do this. Let's make sure we put all of our little spots back together. I've been talking with you a lot about scant 1/4 inch seam allowances, and that can be very, very tricky to really understand how, when, and why it's needed. So I've got a little project here that I'll show you so you can think about it while I'm finishing putting Jane together. See this little tree? So I shared a little bit about it the other day. This is a little kit that is shipping with orders in our shop, and it has been for quite a little bit. And I gave the backstory in one of my previous videos about it. It's the follow-up to the leaders and enders. Anyway, so this is a perfect project. This is a project that really needs a scant 1/4 inch. And I'm gonna try and put together, we've been working on some filming variations so that we can start to do a better job of helping you be able to see what I'm doing here on the bed of my machine, because several of you have asked about that. So that's going there. And this is a little, because I have the, and that fell over there, because I have my little horizontal spool, that's where this kind of a spool, this is Orphan thread. It spins up this way, and so it really needs to come off like this. And I dropped a little thing over there that goes right into this. But anyway, I'm going to assume, to hold my spool in place, I'm going to assume it's fine. I am going to plug Jane back in. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is try and put together a little something for you to be able to see that and understand, and I will use that project so you can see it, and it's the cutest little thing. Oh, my thread. Anyway, Jane is ready. I think I'm going to give her a little test zoom. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. I hope you are ready to relax this weekend. I hope you're ready to sew. If not sew, create. If not create, relax and just be with people that you love, which might just be alone time with you. And so I certainly am no stranger to that, one of the things that I love. But I'm going to be spending some time this weekend just doing some quiet sewing, some care sewing. But I'll also put this together for you, for us, so that we can talk about scant quarter inch seam allowances. And I needed, mainly the reason I need to do this is because I had a little sample when I first made these kits, but I gave it away to my friend. So I need another little sample, and maybe then once we get it finished, we'll find a little spot where it can live up here too, my little Trixie's Tree Farm mug rug. And so anyway, we'll talk about that, and I will see you next time.